Hi, welcome in for another speed build. Clayton speaking. This is Sticky Sims, my YouTube channel where I love to build and play The Sims. Today we are in Tartosa. I've really fallen in love with this world. It took me a while to actually purchase this My Wedding Stories pack. Really the only thing I have to blame is all of the horrible things that I read online, that it didn't work as expected, and some people were going as far as saying it was a waste of money, which now that I've bought the pack, I realize is a very dramatic overstatement. This world is beautiful. The build buy, I wish there were more, but the build buy that we do get is gorgeous. I mean, previously, or if you're just like, you only own base game, you can do a Mediterranean style home in Oasis Springs and it fits the neighborhood. But the fact that they really gave us like the Mediterranean coast, and I'm guessing this is Italy or maybe Greece. I don't know. Hold on. Okay, so yeah, Italy basically. Tartosa is generally based off of Italian coastal towns in the Mediterranean. So, anywho, I was geeking on Pinterest over Mediterranean homes. I really loved the look of like the Santorini, like in Greece type homes, but I kind of knew that Tartosa was a little bit more on the Italy side. All in all, I fell into the Mediterranean style with like the stone on the side or plaster with the terracotta or the red orange roof. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Open floor plans, lots of outdoor like dining, entertainment places, places to have people over. This little lot here, I believe it's pronounced Piccola Luce? It is its own little like island right here, right off of the coastline right here. So it's absolutely gorgeous to build here. For a minute, I kind of wanted to build the other way because the town is also gorgeous to look at. But when I think about sharing these builds with everyone, it's very important to me that I'm like showing you how I built it from the way that the game loads in, if that makes sense. I know in my experience, before I started making speed builds, there would be situations where I would like download a build because I watched somebody build it and it was absolutely gorgeous and I placed it on the lot, and then the game loads in from a different angle than the angle of like the speed build. And for like a brief second, I just have that like frustrating feeling of like, I didn't get what I paid for. I know I didn't pay for anything, but you know what I mean. That feeling like I've been bamboozled. Now, of course, instantly it goes away and I realize, oh, it's just, they just pictured it from the side of the lot. But I don't want you to have to go through that if you do fall in love with one of my builds, God willing. Now, this build in particular, let me reel myself back in. I started off kind of with a reference picture, and then I kind of actually found another reference picture that I fell in love with. And then I guess kind of sat there and this brain of mine somehow managed to like come up with an idea or like a rough idea of how I could like marry those two reference pictures together. And that's kind of how we got this double structure that you see here. Now, I also originally was thinking it's really romantic. The views here are gorgeous. Let's make this like a vacation rental. But by the time that I actually got to like furnishing and getting into the interiors, which mind you was like a couple of days, I have trouble sitting down for more than like 2-3 hours maybe at a time, especially to build. The best way I can put it is like I run out of juice, I guess, and I just need to come back. But after like thinking about it one day, I remember I was wanting to build one day, and it was towards the end of work, and I was just, it was the lull, the last like few minutes of work, and I just started thinking about this build. And then I really wondered if I should make a spot for my Jonathan Bailey sim. Now, a very, very incredibly talented creator, Gali Hall on Patreon, I hope I'm saying that right, made a replica, if you will, of Jonathan Bailey. It includes CC and different things, but I downloaded him in my game because why not? I love just, having a little Jonathan Bailey character. I don't really play with him necessarily. He's more of like my playtester. So he just kind of, while I'm building, I'll put him somewhere. But anyways, I finally realized, I should give him a home. I should have a place that I keep him in my build save. I decided to start keeping a build save again. And it's like, okay, let me go get Jonathan. I know exactly where he is. He's right over here in Piccola Luce in his small business residential. Yep, I did it again. I'm building yet again another small business. I did save this lot to the gallery as just a regular small business, so you don't have to live here if you don't want to. But basically my idea is Jonathan Bailey is halfway retired in my game, if you will, to Italy, and he runs a gay bar. So the larger portion, kind of on the right when you load in, is what I would call the business. So it's a double decker, it's 2 levels, both have their own bar. And then the little smaller structure on the left is kind of, I guess, like an apartment for one. The upstairs is kind of a bedroom / study / living room, I guess. And the bottom floor is barely enough room for dining and a kitchen. Now, like I said, I saved it as a regular small business lot because if you don't plan on living here, you're not going to really need a shower, right? So this kind of was an afterthought. And this is what I get for trying not to overthink things lately. But I put a pop-up shower that we got with the outdoor retreat pack on this little balcony piece on the first level of the apartment building. I hate to say apartment building, but I guess it's the residence. We'll call it the bar and we'll call it the residence there. That's what I'll do for the sake of this video. Because, right, if you download this build, you can do what you want with it. Now, one thing while I'm thinking about it and I'm sitting here just yapping about this build, I knew that I needed columns. That is a very prominent part of Mediterranean architecture. However, I was just not happy with it. I'm just kind of mentioning it now because it spans throughout the entire video, but I knew that I needed columns and I kept trying different things and I kept having my moments of a stretch of imagination. Maybe we could just try something else. Maybe, maybe what could have happened that maybe they're going to have wood columns instead of, I don't know, stone columns. But anyways, ultimately I didn't like how any of them turned out. I feel like I tried 87 different things and I ultimately just came down with, okay, it's just a wood balcony, second level with wooden columns holding it up. It is what it is. Back to not overthinking it, as I explained to you that I ran back and forth, upside down and sideways over columns. One other thing that I'm thinking about that I feel like I quote-unquote overthought or spent more time than I probably needed to was trying to find a roof, pattern swatch, if you will, that matched these little window awnings on the outside, and it was nearly impossible. I even broke down and just tried different shaders, thinking maybe it's the shader that's causing it, but no, there's literally not a roof that matches those things. And why would they do that to us? I'm laughing, but I'm also Okay, please allow me to reel myself back in. Where are we at with this build right now? Yes. Okay, so we're working on making a outdoor entertainment piece. Because we are in Tartosa, I felt the I don't want to say the urge, but I felt compelled to put a wedding arch on the lot somewhere. Just how beautiful it was, and if I'm gonna do a gay bar, maybe this is the safe space for the couple that is ready to get married, or they just want pictures. You gotta make the money somehow. I did make sure to put a grill because from what I understand on the Mediterranean, eating outside, outdoor dining is a big thing, which I get so jealous of thinking about that sometimes because I know I can eat outdoors here in Louisiana. However, it's either too cold, too hot, right? Those are the common complaints, right? But then when the temperature is fine, then it's mosquitoes. So I'm okay, bugs. And then I just, right, you can light a citronella candle and different things and put bug spray on you, but it's just to eat, okay, well, let's just eat inside and not have to deal with that. But It just seems so relaxing. One day I'll live in a not a subtropical climate. Okay, so I did end up putting the bathrooms over here. I just felt like it made sense as far as like the floor plan to put them over here. Now I will say with caution, I absolutely love the businesses and hobbies pack, but if you play with it and you've never actually done a small business, beware. I cannot stand when customers like pee themselves or pee on the floor of my business, and that's like a more frequent occurrence than I would prefer. So I did put in 2 bathrooms and I made sure to put them right here. Honestly, the best place that I could put them is wherever the fuck they spawn. Like when the business is open, just so it's right there. But sometimes you can't help it. As you can tell, I'm a little emotional about that one. It does just slightly grind my gears. But anyways, when I was going for another accent or trying to pull in another, I guess, color into the scheme of interiors and such, I went with blue, and a part of me still kind of questions that decision, even as I'm sitting here doing this voiceover of the speed build and saved everything. And but I just knew that there were a lot of different blue swatches, so by allowing myself to just let go of the fact that it's not going to be perfectly matchy-matchy, then maybe I can just get blues that kind of, I don't know, what's the word, like go together? As you can tell, I'm no like interior designer. I'm literally just a dork. I love, like, I grew up loving home and garden television. I always loved those magazines, like architecture magazines, interior design, different things like that. Like I didn't actually study anything. It was just kind of like I don't know. I always liked it. So now, as an adult, it makes sense that I love building in The Sims. And, building in The Sims lately, I've noticed that I find that I'm, like, opting for half walls a lot more and more. And the only thing about half walls that I'm trying to, be more mindful of is the cutaway views, which is a big part of, like, my own gameplay. But all that goes to say, while I'm building with half walls, I'm also seeing weird glitches in different things with certain, like, columns. Now I'm thinking about it. Those columns that we got with Enchanted by Nature, if you like my speed builds, you're probably going to see them a lot more. They go with so many things, and the swatches that they gave us, I really like. How do I put this? I'm going to squeeze every last drop out of that tube of toothpaste. So kind of like the those life and death cabinets with the kitchen. I use the shit out of those. I mean, I still kind of do, but another hot item that I'm really liking right now is also the reclaimed wood dining chairs. I don't know why I love the like pattern. I don't want to say texture because I don't really know what I'm talking about as far as like actual like creating of these assets in the game, but it very clearly looks like refurbished with wood stain, and I was gagged. I still love it. I think it's so cute. All right, so downstairs bar, I kind of just went with something a little bit more clean, a little bit more, I guess, more updated, if you will, as a, like lobby main space of the small business. Upstairs is a little bit more of a, I guess, I don't want to say run down, but like I use the Strangerville bar, so I don't want to say dirty, but it's a little, less tidy, a little bit more rough, tumble type place, if you will. It was actually kind of inspired by one of my first experiences in a like smaller town type queer community when I first started going to college. So here comes story time. You ready? Growing up and being raised in New Orleans, I always had the city, but the city comes with tourism and those types of spaces are just, they're kind of warped in a way to their own little special flavor and breed. Now, going to college like 4 hours away from home, it felt a little bit more like country, if you will, a little bit more like the deep south, like people always, cliched on TV. But the funny thing, the point I'm trying to get at is in that town, they had 2 queer bars, and one was literally more of a lesbian bar, and one was definitely more of a gay bar. And I hate to sound this way and be very like dualistic about it, but that's literally how it was. Like, there was a gay man that ran this gay bar, and there was a lesbian woman that like worked for the city who ran her own bar as well. I typically hung out at what I guess I'm calling the lesbian bar. It had an older crowd, which I know I'm a younger person, but I ended up dating someone that was older. And anyways, we all make our choices when we're younger guys. Anyways, my idea is the upstairs is kind of like the quote unquote lesbian bar, the more quiet, laid back, I don't want to say real, but like less flashy type atmosphere. And downstairs is a little bit more of the sleek, presentable bar where, people are playing games, if you catch my drift. The bathrooms are also downstairs, but anyways, we are in the residence currently. I wanted upstairs to be a very happy, bright, room. Kind of this whole lot, I really just went with bright, happy colors. I think it might have to do with me. I kind of was going through, some things mentally and working on just, mental health, emotional health, different things like that. And I guess just this build was my reminder to myself that, like, aside from all the different things that I have going on and all of the, thoughts that are going to go through my head, I just wanted to go to my happy place. So where did I go? I went into the newest, latest and greatest beautiful world that I loved to build in The Sims 4. And here I am making a speed build. But yeah, enough about me. Let's talk about the build, Clayton. Jesus. I remember specifically when I was doing the kitchen in the residence, I just started grabbing different things from the clutter menu, and I started putting it on the first counter that was right there. And it was just kind of like a thought of like, okay, I'm just gonna like place it there, and then I'll end up, putting things exactly where I kind of pictured them. But then, like, overthinking Clayton kicked in and was like, maybe not. Wouldn't that be a little bit more realistic in your residence, where like you kind of get home and you just drop things on the counter that's closest because, I don't know, you have to pee, you're busy, whatever it is? Am I using realism as an excuse for laziness? Maybe. But we're here. So here's the quote unquote L bar that I was talking about just a few minutes ago. This is ultimately going to be the end of the speed build. Coming up, of course, I'm going to do my usual, little tour screenshots at the end. Without me yapping, for those of us that don't want to sit with me, I get it. I don't shut up anyways. I did a little poll on the channel earlier for subscribers, and I just kind of wanted to mention it now. I am taking a few steps back on my YouTube channel just to kind of allow myself to have a little bit more time for other things in my life. It started to, a hobby started to consume way more time than I originally intended. I guess the problem is I'm having fun and I'm trying to, inadvertently I'm trying to rush things. So at this point, I feel like in my YouTube journey, I've tried almost all of the different little things that we can pretty much do on our channel. No, I guess I should be more specific and stop speaking so loosely. I mean, like, I've done these videos, these long form videos, I've done the short form videos, the real type content, and now I've also more recently this summer started live streaming. Now, when I originally started, the plan was speed builds every week. And I, for the most part, have been, pretty religious and good about popping out a speed build every Sunday. Now, I also took on the Pack Legacy Gaze Let's Play and some Sims 2 content, which, people do love and I really love. And I don't know exactly what cadence I'm going to be doing each of my little projects on, but I'm basically going to go down to just one piece a week to try to give myself time to really just chew on things and breathe. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to my subscribers. I really love you guys so much. Bye.